On this episode of Locked On Angels, the Angels hit 3 home runs last night, and they still lost. And they had a chance to come back, but they made a questionable decision in the 9th inning, and we're going to talk about it. It's time to get Locked On with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And if you'd like to get back to the Super Halo Bros for all this Super Halo content, here's some things that you can do. Leave us a rate and a review on Apple Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe and become a Locked On every day, or we're marching toward 8,000 subscribers on YouTube. We thank you so much. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube, leave a comment. It's one of the best ways to get in touch with John and I and be a part of the conversation. And this episode of Locked On Angels is brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use our promo code LockedOnMLB to win $50 instantly when you play $5.
Thanks for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
We're getting close to the end of our 3rd season here at Locked On Angels, and we're talking Angels baseball Monday through Friday, every single weekday with you. Wherever you get your podcast, on YouTube, we're on television. Who thought we would be on television, Mike? Look at that. Hey, on today's show, we're talking about Adell's season being over. So was it a success? We'll dive into that conversation. Mike, Ron Washington said something that bothered you, and we're going to share what he said, and you're going to share why it bothered you. But first, let's get into the game from last night. The Angels fell to the Twins 6-4, Mike.
Yeah, I was told one time I got a face for radio. I don't know if that was a compliment. Or All right, so let's talk about this game, Johnny. Top of the first, Taylor Ward hits a home run.
Yeah.
He certainly is coming into his own in that leadoff spot, right? Coming into today's game, batting leadoff since August 16th, 312, 363 on base, 602 slugging, and a 965 OPS. This homer was his 7th home run from the leadoff spot. Johnny, I know that we had some stats that said he's better in like the 3rd spot, better maybe even in the 4th spot. I don't know if you want to take him out of that leadoff spot, and I don't know if you want to take him out of that leadoff spot next year either, John, right?
No, I don't think so. I think you want to leave him in the leadoff spot. If he's going to be part of this team, we've all kind of speculated that, certain things could happen over the offseason. But I will say this, Mike, for some reason, I feel like maybe the pressure is off Taylor Ward out of the leadoff spot. And you kind of saw that with the fact that he started the game with this home run. And again, it's his 7th home run from the leadoff spot this season. And you have to consider later on in the game, after Kohanowicz and Adams get on base, you get a K from Ward, a K from Neto, and then, of course, Nolan Shonowell came through to score. But it was like the big moment was too much for Taylor Ward. So I don't know if he's a big moment guy. Maybe he's this kind of guy who doesn't have, the pressure on him at the top spot. At bottom of the first, Wallner homered off of Kochanowicz. I'm like reading it literally. Kohanowicz gives up a home run to Matt Wallner. It was a sinker just right over the middle of the plate. Yeah. Not a great location. Gave up the walk, but he was able to get out of the inning without any further damage. That did tie up the game at 1. Bottom of the second, it's a 1-2-3 inning for Kohanowicz. I was a little concerned with the hard contact he was giving up to get outs to start this game. A lot of exit velocities over 100 miles an hour, ground outs, fly outs, things like that. But it just went to show that he was struggling with his location. Top of the third, Nolan Shonowell jumps on a 92-mile-an-hour cutter. It's running in toward his hands. He does that funny Shohei Ohtani swing that he does, and he hits a home run to right field. His first since August 8th, his 13th of the year. At this point, it was 2-1 Angels. Bottom of the third comes around, another 1-2-3 inning for Kohanowicz on 5 pitches, Mike.
Yeah, and then top 4, Nico Kohanowicz takes a 1-out walk, and that was it for the Twins starter. Zebby Matthews was out. Wayne Randazzo on the broadcast mentioned that this game was a must-win game for the Twins, so it looked like Rocco Baldelli was going to use some of his best relievers with a day off on Thursday. Then Taylor Ward takes a 2-out walk, and then Neto struck out on a sinker, and that ended the threat for the Angels. Then bottom 4, the Twins did take the lead. A leadoff base hit to Carlos Santana, noted Angel killer. He's always somebody that crushes the Angels, right? Reached out, pulled a sinker down to right field, and then it was followed by another base hit. So first and third, there was a called strike 3 to Royce Lewis, which caused 1 out. Then Willie Castro hits a sinker to center to score Santana. That tied the game at 2. It was another sinker that was thrown into the gap from Brooks Lee that made it 4-2 Twins. Kohanowicz has thrown a lot of sinkers in this game, and he threw a lot of sinkers in this inning, and that really is a good pitch for him, right?
It was all sinkers up to that point, Mike.
Yeah.
So there was just no surprises of what he's going to throw. And so at that point, after he gave up the lead and it was 4-2, he hit the pitcher, or he hit the batter on his next pitch, which was a curveball. So it goes to show he didn't have a feel for anything other than that sinker. He did use a sinker to get Christian Vasquez to hit it hard to third and get an inning-ending double play. In the top of the 5th, there was a leadoff walk to Nolan Shawnuel. Jack Lopez was pinch hitting for Drury because Drury got hurt during the 4th inning. We later confirmed that to be left hamstring tightness. Left me wondering why not Stefanik to bat cleanup there, considering
they hate him. They hate him.
And that's,
right?
That was the point I was going to bring up. Is just like, why do we hate this guy? I know he came in for the last at bat of the game, but it seems pretty obvious at this point, doesn't it, Mike? But Moniak gets a base hit against the lefty Thielbar. Shawnuel gets the third. There's a foul tip strikeout from Theis. There's a pitching change. Wagaman's up, but then Moniak is thrown out trying to steal third. So kind of a rally killing moment there, but I understand he was trying to get in to scoring position. Bottom of the 5th, a swinging strikeout to Julian from Kohanowicz, a fly out, a walk to Santana, and then a K to Larnach. So Kohanowicz gets through that inning without any damage. Top of the 6th, the Angels score on a Jordan Adams 2-out solo home run, his first in the big leagues. 100-mile-an-hour fastball, Mike, and he hit it 105 exit velocity, went 419 feet. So that made it 4-3 Twins at that point.
Johnny, did he look small to you? Like I last time I saw him, he looked like he was a bit more filled out. In this game, he looked a bit lean and mean. Like
a little
he
more leaner.
Yeah, and you and I've talked a lot about like Mike Trout. Maybe that will help his body. He looked different to me, and I wonder if he's losing some weight to be a bit quicker in the outfield, be a bit quicker at the plate, and maybe it's a lot less pressure on his legs.
It was certainly quick hands that got him that home run too, Mike. So yeah, you might be onto something. I now that you mention it, I do see a difference in Jordan Adams. Bottom of the 6th came around. That's when Kohanowicz came out of the game. There was a single to Royce Lewis on a curveball. He hits Willie Castro with the ball. There's a ground ball double play. Lewis moves to third, and at that point, there's a pitching change. Kohanowicz's final line, 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, a couple of hit by pitches, by the way, 3 strikeouts, only 69 pitches, but Brock Burke came in for the lefty-lefty matchup and gets a liner to Zach Neto for the final out. Interesting note from Sam Blum of The Athletic. He said Kohanowicz has pitched 44 1/3 MLB innings. He's induced 13 double plays, nearly 1 every 3 innings, and at least 1 in all 8 starts. Mike, what were your thoughts on Jack Kochanowicz in this one?
Well, Sam Blum pointed out something that is evident in why he's able to get deep into games, and that he gets a lot of ground balls and inducing a lot of double plays. 69 pitches through 5 2/3 is a great pitch count. Like if he was able to stay in that game, he probably could have gone maybe through the 6th inning. And that's what Kohanowicz has done since he's come back up to the majors. He did seem like he was struggling with location last night.
Yeah,
right?
they were hitting that sinker real hard last night.
And he was throwing a lot of sinkers. And I don't think it was because I don't think that they were hitting the sinker really hard because it was a weak pitch. I just think when you throw it and throw it and throw it and throw it and throw it, there's no surprises for the batters, right? They knew it was coming because he couldn't locate anything else.
Yeah.
And so that was, I thought was really interesting that he just went to his pitch that he was really confident in. And it kind of reminded me of his first 2 starts before he was sent down. He was going with a pitch he's confident in because he wasn't able to locate the other pitches. So something was off last night. But again, only 69 pitches, John. Like he is very efficient when he goes and pitches. And when we talk about innings eaters, we talked about Griffin Canning yesterday. This is what I love about Kohanowicz, right? It's not the best start, but when you look at that line, 4 earned, 7 hits, 5 2/3, John, that's not terrible. And that's what you want from a innings eater. You're in the game, you're within striking distance, it's competitive. And if he needed to go deeper into the game, his pitch count would allow him to do that.
Yeah, he looked like he was kind of at the end of his rope by the time that they made the switch there, and they wanted the matchup too, and Brock Burke did his job. Bottom of the 7th, lots of trouble here, Mike.
Yeah.
Brock Burke was still in. He gets a pop-up. Theis and Wagaman didn't catch it, and they couldn't decide who should get it, and so it fell in between them in foul territory. Vasquez ends up getting a single after that. Kyle Farmer doubles. There's runners on 2nd and 3rd. Burke strikes out Wallner. They intentionally walk Santana. There's a strikeout to Jose Miranda. And so you have a bases loaded situation with Hunter Strickland coming in to face Royce Lewis, who is insanely good.
Yeah.
Has insane career numbers with the bases loaded. At first, he hit a grand slam, and it would have been his 6th career grand slam in 17 at-bats with the bases loaded. But then there was a replay review, a home run review by the umpires. Turned out to be an automatic double, so 2 runs scored. So that made it 6-3 instead of 8-3. And then there was a fly out to end the inning. Could have been much different, and the inning would have been over if Wagaman and Theis didn't give a free out. So is it Wagaman's inexperience, not aggressive, playing scared? It seemed like a bad time to have a miscommunication like that on what was a very easy pop-up.
Right. Yeah. And then we go to the top of the 9th, Kavadas and Adams single. And to go back to what you said at the very beginning of this segment, the guys who aren't necessarily going to come through for you came through for you, right? Like that's why the Angels are in trouble. But then the guys that you need to have come through don't come through. So 2 on, nobody out. Ward swings and misses. Neto swings and misses. Both of them strike out. Then Shawnuel singles and Kavadas scores. And then Johnny, it was Jack Lopez, and they pinch hit for him. So Ohapi's not playing, right? Ohapi's on the bench, and they pinch hit with Michael Stefanik?
Yeah. To me, it was, do you want contact or do you want power?
Yeah.
Because we've seen Ohapi struggle and chase things out of the zone and whatnot. And so, yeah, that was the big question there is, why isn't it Ohapi? I totally understand with the game on the line that you would want him there. But in this moment, you had runners on 1st and 3rd, or I'm sorry, 2nd and 3rd. So it's almost like you could have had one base hit score those runs. And honestly, Mike, I think I would have trusted Stefanik's bat more than Ohapi in that moment. I love Ohapi, and I think he's a huge part of this team, but his struggles lately, you're either going to get that Stefanik ground out, which is how the game ended, or you're going to get an Ohapi strikeout at this point. So the final score here, 6-4. Twins. The Angels are officially out of the playoffs, eliminated. Big surprise. They will need to go 7-9, 7 wins, 9 losses, to avoid setting the record for the worst single season loss record. 95 losses in 1980 and 1968. They have 16 games left. And I still don't think they're going to lose 100 games. I don't think that's going to be on the table for this one. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. The Angels are playing the Astros on Friday, back at the Big A, 6:38 Pacific time. You can catch every pitch of the Angels hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Angels. Coming up on Locked On Angels, Ron Washington said something this week that really bothered Mike. Why did it bother you? Well, we're going to talk about it, and we'll sort through Mike's feelings, and we'll figure out why it bothered him so much. We'll get into that, and we'll get into Joe Adell season as well. It's all coming up here on Locked On Angels.
Every day, you got to try out Prize Picks. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. They have over 5 million members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, Prize Picks allows you to play against the numbers, and that's it. All you need to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. And right now, you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Now, for this weekend, here's what I need you to do. I need you to select Caleb Williams with the Bears and pick more on his yards, because Prize Picks is giving you one passing yard, and then you get to pick more or less. Well, he's going to throw more than one passing yard, and it's an automatic win for you. 3 more weeks to do this in September, because once it's gone, it's all gone, and you can't win on this. You can win on other things, but you can't win on this free gift from Prize Picks. So download the Prize Picks app today, and you can use our promo code, and here's a bonus. You're going to get $50 instantly when you play $5. So you're up $45 already with Prize Picks. Again, promo code Locked On MLB when you download Prize Picks. Get $50 when you play $5. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game.
And today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. There's so much sports going on, so much stuff to, make it a little bit interesting. And FanDuel is there for you because they're America's #1 sports book. They got a little something different for you this time around. Now through September 22nd. You got 10 days, people. All FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you can watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. That's how you want to spend your Sunday, right? All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. And if that's not enough, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app. Use it to double your winnings for all of Sunday's pregame moneyline bets. Profit Boost will be live starting today. So view your account page now to learn more about your boost. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook.
This is the Locked On Podcast Network, and you are listening and viewing Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. And John and I want to invite you to something pretty special. It's the Ohapi All-Star Bowl. Logan Ohapi and his teammates are throwing a fundraiser for Corey's Promise. It's a nonprofit organization that helps offset the financial burden of families that endure all of the struggles of battling childhood cancer, and they're going to help offset the burdens of the finances for that. Love that idea. And we're going to help raise funds by bowling with the players and with each other. Can't wait to do that. It's Saturday, October 5th at Cal Bowl in Lakewood from 1 to 4 p.m. Again, we're bowling with each other, and we're also bowling for a great cause. And some of the players, including Logan Ohapi, are going to bowl with us. So be cool, all right? Be cool. Get your tickets by clicking the link in the show description. When you do use our promo code BROS at checkout, you're going to get $50 off. You're welcome. We're honored to be a part of this incredible event, and we would love for you, our everydayers and all Angel fans, to come and hang with us on Saturday, October 5th at Cal Bowl in Lakewood from 1 to 4 p.m.
Mike, Joe Adell's season is over. He went on the IL with the oblique strain, something that he dealt with last season as well. Everybody had oblique strain last season. There was something in the water, right? And apparently Anthony Rendon has that as well. But because Joe Adell's season is over, one of the things that you and I have said all season long is that Joe Adell needs a full season in the majors, and we need to assess him at the end of the season when all is said and done. Because his season is now over, let's actually look at what he did this season. In 405 at-bats, he hit .207, a .280 on base, and a .682 OPS. He did hit 20 home runs with 62 RBIs and 15 stolen bases. He also scored 54 runs and had 84 hits over the season. But this big story, Mike, was Joe Adell moving from the leg kick to a toe tap. Why don't you give us those detailed stats?
Yeah, so with a toe tap, he was slashing a .248, 320 on base, and a .450 slugging with a .771 OPS, had a 25% K rate and an 8% walk rate. With the leg kick, Johnny, 192, 265 on base, 384 slugging, and a 649 OPS, a 29% K rate, and an 8% walk rate, so nothing really changed there. Here's the MLB average, by the way. 244, 312, 400, 712, a 23% K rate, and an 8% walk rate. So he was right in line with the MLB average. Not showing off, not lagging behind, right? He's not the superstar. He's a piece, And that's really what he proved this year. John, he had 326 plate appearances with the leg kick and 125 plate appearances with the toe tap. Joe said, me avoiding the leg kick is probably final. I think I'm all done with it, right?
Yeah.
And he said, I think I've gotten to the point where I found something that's simple and allows me to get to the ball and make better decisions. I love that from Joe Adell. Johnny, you're a Joe Adell fan. Is this a successful season for Joe Adell?
This is a step in the right direction. I think that if we had seen a full season of toe tap Joe Adell doing a little toe tapping out there, it might be a very different story here at the end of the season. But one thing that jumps out to me, Mike, is the fact that the 712 OPS is league average. And with the toe tap, Joe Adell is a 771 OPS, which means 800 is about where you want to be, right? When it comes to OPS, anything between 800 and 900 is like, yeah, you're doing it great. But 771 OPS is fantastic, especially when you consider the strikeout rate went down when he got away from the leg kick, which probably has everything to do with timing. I think it also has to do with him, obviously, just from the eye test, being a bit more selective at the tail end of this season. The 8% walk rate, that's league average. It's also what Joe Adell has done with or without the toe tap. And so I think it's important to highlight those facts that, a 771 OPS, the average, right in line with MLB average, the on base, right in line, the slugging and the OPS, a little bit better than league average. Now, I know he was a number one prospect and a number one pick and a top 100 former top 100 prospect for the Angels. And this is a somewhat in line with league average performance. I'm interested to see how a full season would have gone with that toe tap. I have to say, much better defensively, much better toward the end of the season. I mean, he had a monster April, if you remember that.
He did.
And he certainly had a terrible May and June, which really tanked his numbers. But Mike, if he can find himself with, the 248 average, but he's hitting 20 plus home runs a season, I think he could hit 30 if he keeps up with this toe tap, because to me, that's who he is. He's not a hit for average guy. He's a powerful dude who can hit for power. And the Angels need that in a lot of places. I know they have Mike Trout, and I think about who else? Can you name anybody? Logan O'Hoppe for power. I mean, obviously Neto, Ward, they're all, O'Hoppe's not at 20 home runs yet, but you think about 20 plus home run guys, you need a 30 plus home run guy. Trout can be that if he's healthy, but with Joe Adell, I think he could get to 30. I think that he's that comparison that we constantly go back to. And I want to give credit to the everydayer who first came up with it. And I'd have to go back through our notes to find it, but it's the Adell Garcia comparison. I think that Joe Adell is the Angels' Adell Garcia. What do you make of his season? Was this successful?
Well, I think it's unfortunate that he didn't get 600 plate appearances, because I remember in the offseason, one of the things that you actually emphasized was I'd love to see him get 600 plate appearances, because that's a full season, meaning that he played almost every game, right? And I know that 425 plate appearances is a lot. But
I'm actually looking. So 451. Is that what you said? 451?
Yeah, I think I got,
and 405 at bats, obviously, because there's walks and stuff like that. But plate appearances, 451. Yeah, that's huge.
So I would love to see 600. Yeah. And right, I know he's injured right now. I know he's making TikTok videos, but I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him get 600 plate appearances, because I think that Joe Adell, now that he's got the toe tap down, even this season, I think that we would have seen maybe another 5 to 7 home runs from him. And I think that he easily is going to go 20-20 in the next seasons that he plays, because he's got the power and he's got the speed. I think he's figuring out how to play baseball intelligently, and that's really exciting to see. And I think that he's somebody that they shouldn't negotiate and stick in right field next year and let him run with it one more time, right? Because if they don't do any free agent signings this season and they kind of run with the guys, then put him out there and let him prove himself, and don't platoon him. Let him prove himself. Let him go out there and get as many plate appearances as possible, because you get a benefit with him on defense. And then when he gets hot, he can really carry this team. And I think he can move from just the I'm the neutral average superstar to actual superstar if he has enough plate appearances and can work with this new approach with the toe tap.
Yeah, he's not the Mike Trout quality that, you know, his number one pick status might have suggested or anything like that. And to be honest, we hear that year after year, the next Mike Trout, the next Mike Trout, the next Mike Trout. And that's not even just Angels. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And how many of those next Mike Trouts have lived up to that moniker? Well, I would say 0 out of 12, right? Because we hear it all the time.
Right.
But I will say, if you want an average batting average guy with some power who can hit you 30 home runs in a season and steal 20 bags, like that's a very unique kind of person. And Mike, it's not an anchor piece like we talk about.
Yeah.
It's certainly not an anchor, but it's another power bat that you need in the lineup and who plays tremendous defense as well.
And he's the threat if Mike Trout is in this lineup all the time, right? He's the threat if Anthony Rendon is in this lineup all the time because he stretches this lineup out. And if Mike Trout can be Trout and if Rendon can be just half the man that he was, he stretches this lineup out and then becomes a 7th hole hitter with 30 home runs. Like, watch out. That could be a big threat for this team in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So all in all, a decent season from Jo Adell. He got his chance to prove himself. And I think that you could see a lot better results with that toe tap. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how he comes into spring training next year.
Everydayers, you got to check out Tonal. It's the world's largest and most effective strength training system that helps you get stronger. It's powered by AI. Tonal learns with every rep so they can deliver workouts personalized just for you. It's like having a personal trainer at home, but half the cost. It's going to help you optimize every single workout. Unlike traditional gym equipment, Tonal uses adaptive weight to advance your training techniques. And with Tonal, you can get efficient workouts personalized just for you and are available in the amount of time that you have. I love that. From professional athletes to moms of 3, Tonal is trusted by thousands who have become their strongest. And Tonal's smart strength training system, it takes all the guesswork out of working out so that you can be sure that you're getting the most out of every rep. And right now, Tonal is offering our listeners to Locked On Angels $200 off your Tonal purchase with the promo code Locked On MLB. Visit tonal.com. Use our promo code Locked On MLB. You'll get $200 off your purchase. One more time, tonal.com. Use our promo code Locked On MLB, and you'll get $200 off.
Mike, we got word on Tuesday that Ben Joyce was going on the injured list with right shoulder inflammation. Joyce said that he wasn't concerned because it's just inflammation. When you control the male, you control inflammation. Sorry, there's your Seinfeld for the day.
Good.
He hasn't had an MRI yet on it, but he will get one. He finished by saying that he's planning to pitch again this season. But that isn't the story here, right?
Yeah. On Monday night, Jeff Fletcher tweeted out that he asked Wash about Joyce and why he didn't pitch in that game. Remember, it was close and like who's going to come in and who they're going to do. How come Ben Joyce didn't come in? Wash said that it was about the matchups, but then he also said, and Joyce is fine. Then the next day, we get word that he's going on the IL. I have a problem with that because it feels like old Angel culture, and old Angel culture has creeped into current Angel culture. Johnny, I don't understand this bait and switch that happens with all of the conversations about injuries. I know that it's not just the Angels. It seems to be across MLB with Kyle Tucker and the Astros. Similar injury that Anthony Rendon had last year.
Yeah, that's like eerily similar, right?
And we didn't know what happened to Rendon either. So the questions that I have are they just like talking in the present and that's it, and that's intentional? We're just going to talk like right now. We're not even going to think about what's happening in the future. Yeah, so tonight in this last game in the past, Ben was good. Right? Or at least he said he was good, right? It just feels so disingenuous. It doesn't feel like they're giving us the updates. Is there strategy behind this? Because I don't know if there's even a strategic decision that needs to be made. Like, hey, Ben Joyce was good. So does the team go, oh, so Ben Joyce could have come in. So will he come in tomorrow? No, because the next day they announced that he's on the IL, right? So I don't get this. I don't get why you're just not like, hey, here's the reality. Does Wash not know? Did Wash not get an update? Did he not really hear the question? He's 72. Maybe it didn't resonate. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
those are all the questions that came to mind. And it was just frustrating because it feels like past Angels. It feels, and I want to be done with that. And it feels like we're just not doing a great job in communication. The organization is not great at that at all. And then when it comes to little things like this, like, no, Joyce was fine. And then the next day he goes on the IL.
Right. Yeah, let me put it to you this way, and maybe this will help you understand it a little bit better. Mike, this is the organization that has, for the last 14 years, signed superstars to draw people to the stadium because they're a big name. Pujols, Hamilton, Anthony Rendon. That's what they care about. Shohei did that for all the years that he went nuclear and just tore up MLB as an Angel. This is the team that wants you to come watch them because of names. This is the team that will sell you the 4 for $44, 4 tickets, 4 drinks, 4 hot dogs to get you in the stadium. This is the team that will tell you that everything's fine and dandy. There's nothing to worry about. Everything's great. Trout's going to be back in a week. Rendon's going to be back tomorrow. Oh, just kidding. They're out for the season. Rendon's out for the season. This is the team that will tell you, look over here. Don't watch what's going on over here. Just keep focus right here. This is who they are as a front office. And so I don't know if it's miscommunication. I don't know if it's old age, but what I do know is that this is a pattern. This goes back to Phil Nevin. It goes back to Joe Madden before him. Not sure we had enough time with Brad Ausmus to see any of this, or even with Mike Scioscia. I don't remember this happening very much. But what I do know is there is a strong PR push. It is all about the PR, that everything's fine and dandy in Halo Land. It's all sunshine and rainbows. We can't be honest with the fans, because if they think Ben Joyce isn't going to pitch the rest of the season, if there's an inkling of a chance that they won't watch the Tuesday night game on some random middle of the week game against, the Twins or whatever it is, then they think that that is an absolute disaster. And to me, this front office is all about the PR. They don't want any bad news coming from the locker room. They don't want any bad news coming from the coaches or the players or anything like that. And at the end of the day, it's just dishonest. The fact that, Wash said that Ben Joyce was fine. I even think Ben Joyce himself said that he was fine. But to not drill down into this specific moment so much and kind of zoom out, this is a pattern. It always happens. And it all comes back to PR. Everything's great. Everything's fine in Halo Land. And that is just what's infuriating at the end of the day. So does that make a little bit more sense? What do you think?
Yeah. How about a new PR? How about a personal record? How about playing well? How about winning, right? The reason why, and you brought up Mike Scioscia, the reason why we don't remember much of this from the Scioscia era is because they were winning. And we were like, man, I wish that guy was still in the lineup. And maybe perhaps it was similar to what they're doing now. But the difference is we're not focused on one player, or I'm sorry, we're not focused on the whole team. We're focused on one player, right? With the Scioscia years, they were winning and they were competitive. And so it was more of a bummer that they weren't in. So if there was some misdirection, we might have missed it because we were so excited about our team. Now the team is just falling apart in a dumpster fire. So any sort of move and any sort of decision is magnified. And what you said, I think, is absolutely correct. It's all about PR. It's all about don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing, right?
Yeah. And when you bring it back to that level of, oh, shoot, one of the most interesting, fun guys to watch in all of baseball. Remember, Ben Joyce got a ton of coverage for that 105.5 strikeout. He got a ton of coverage for that. And if anybody learns that Ben Joyce is going to get hurt, and that's the ridiculous part, is the news is going to come out anyway.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, if the Angels are so desperate to get your attention for the 2.5 hour block on a random Tuesday night, so where you think Ben Joyce might come in, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're trying to get you to watch every single second, hoping that you're going to see your superstars and that there's no question that this guy's hurt and he's going to come in. I think it's absolutely ridiculous because hours later, the news comes out,
right?
Ben Joyce is on the IL. Joe Adell's on the IL, right? All this stuff. Anthony Rendon's on the IL. But for the 2.5 hours where they gotcha, and I don't know who they're trying to get, but they gotcha. They're going to get you to tune in because you might see this guy or that guy. It all goes back to, hey, watch our superstars. Hey, why don't you tune in and watch Mike Trout do his thing? Oh, wait, he's hurt too? Oh, well, then why don't you watch Ben Joyce throw 105.5? It's just absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that they think it's so valuable to hold your attention for that 2.5 hour block that a game is happening, I think that's what it comes down to. It's all PR. It's all front office. It's Carpino. It's Artie Moreno. It's the same old, and we're pretty tired of it.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Now for your second listen, check out Locked On MLB. It's available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and it's a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day.
Hey, be sure you give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On Angels or at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. If you're watching, if you're listening, come on over to YouTube, find today's show, get in the comments section, hit that like button and subscribe button on your way down there. Mike, Fan Mail Friday tomorrow. What do you say?
Yeah, how about that? And we would love your thoughts on Joe Adell specifically. Does he start in your right field next year? Did he earn that? Was this a successful season? We would love to hear from our everydayers because it's Fan Mail Friday tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
And you know what? If you need to vent, feel free to do that for Fan Mail Friday as well. People seem to really like my rant on Griffin Canning yesterday.
Oh, Johnny's mad.
I was spicy. My internet was blurry if you're on the video side because it couldn't keep up with the spice. So yeah, if you need a little vent, feel free to do that as well. All right, friends. Until tomorrow's show, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you back here on Friday.
John is getting upset.
John's getting upset. John's getting angry.